concept is to mainly schedule the generation such that we want economy in operation. Similarly, in this case, when we have both the resources, hydel resources as well as coal. See, you know that for thermal power plant, we use coal as the resource for obtaining power. Similarly, for hydel power plant, we use water as the resource for generation of power. So when we have both the resources, we want to schedule the generation. So how much power has to be scheduled for thermal power plant, how much power you can schedule for hydel power plant. We have to coordinate both. So that finally we want economy in operation. So we want optimal generation scheduling. So in this case, today we consider it is hydrothermal scheduling. So when both the resources are available, how do we schedule the generation? That is optimal scheduling of hydrothermal system. So you know that no state or country is endowed with plenty of water resources or abundant coal or nuclear fuel. So we have to use all the resources depending on their availability, because no country is endowed with only one type of resource. So in states which have adequate hydro as well as thermal power generation capacities, proper coordination has to be made to obtain most economical powers operating state. So maximum advantage is to use hydropower so that the coal reserves can be conserved and environmental pollution can be minimized. See, when we have both the resources, water as well as coal, so you know that when you use only coal, but that means you are running only thermal power plant. So we generate power, of course, but it causes environmental pollution. But when water resource is also available, so we better to use hydropower when depending upon the availability of water. So then we can switch on to use coal for producing the power. So we have to use both, and depending on the availability of water, we have to make the coordination. So in the previous sections, of course, in the 7th semester in power system analysis 2, you have studied the optimal scheduling of power system with thermal power plants only. Optimal operating policy in this case can be completely determined at any instant without reference to operation at other times, because here you are using only one resources, that is coal. So this problem is considered as static optimization problem. Whereas when you have both hydro and thermal plants, the problem is not simple. Here it is, we consider it as complex, as hydro plants have to be operated whenever water resource is available. Hydropower plants have negligible operating cost. See, initial cost for hydro power plant is more than compared to thermal power plant. See, you know that in hydro power plants, civil engineering work is required. The dam has to be constructed and water has to be stored in the reservoir. So initial cost is very high. So once we invest for the initial investment, then operating costs or running costs are very less when compared to thermal power plant. So when we have both thermal and hydro power plants, the problem is complex because we have to operate the thermal power plants under the constraints of water availability. So we consider when we are solving the problem, we consider for a given period of time, maybe during a day or maybe during a month or maybe during a year. This problem belongs to dynamic optimization. The problem of minimizing the operating cost of a hydrothermal system can be viewed as one of minimizing the fuel cost of thermal plants under the constraints of water availability, storage and inflow. See, water is stored in the reservoir. Inflow means that is, see, when you have hydel power plant, see, some of water can be used for irrigation purpose. So remaining is made to use for the power generation. So this is considered for a given period of operation. Now the fundamental hydrothermal system can be represented in this diagram. See here we have both the thermal plant and hydro power plant. Both are supplying the power to the load. So PD represents here the load demand. You know, this is a load which is connected to the bus. So to this bus, both thermal plant as well as hydro power plants are supplying the power. So here PGT suffix T represents it is thermal power generation. PGH, H represents hydel power generation. Both the plants are supplying the load. Okay. Then we have here the term J represents water inflow to the reservoir, X represents storage in the reservoir, so Q represents water discharge. So here, as you have seen, the system consists of one hydro and one thermal plant supplying power to a centralized load and is referred as a fundamental system. So optimization will be carried out with the real power generation as control variable with the transmission loss accounted by loss formula. Loss formula we have derived earlier. Now here we make some assumptions for a certain period of operation, capital T, maybe 1 year, time period maybe 1 year or 1 month or 1 day. Depending upon the requirement, it is assumed that the storage of hydro reservoir at the beginning and the end of the period are specified. We know the water in the reservoir during the beginning of the time and the end of the time. So second assumption we make is water inflow to the reservoir after accounting for irrigation use. Water inflow to the reservoir and the load demand on the system are known as function of time with complete certainty. The problem is to determine Q of T, that is water discharge rate, so as to minimize the cost of thermal generation. Our aim is to minimize the cost of generation. So here the T suffix, the fuel cost, that is with respect to thermal power plant. So the cost function can be stated mathematically like this. See, over a given period of time, 0 to T, see the cost function, see CPGT, T represents thermal power generation, has to be operated such that the total fuel cost is minimum. So this is the problem. So we have to operate the thermal power plant under the constraints of water availability so that the total fuel cost can be minimized. So the problem is stated by this mathematical equation. So under the following constraints, so our aim is to reduce the cost, but we have these constraints. First constraint is we have to meet the load demand. Similar concept you have used even in optimal generation scheduling in case of thermal power plant. We had defined the problem mathematically, then constraints also we had defined. Similarly, we have to define here also when we have both hydro and thermal generation. So first constraint is meeting the load demand. See, load demand has to be met. Generation should be equal to demand plus loss. So we know this equation. Load demand plus losses will be equal to generation. Or here, since we have both the power generation with respect to thermal as well as hydro. So PGH of T represents thermal power generation, which is a function of time. So similarly, hydro power generation, so equal to load demand plus loss. PL represents losses, or we can write total generation minus loss minus demand equal to 0. Here T, which is considered for a time period 0 to capital T. So as we have discussed earlier, the period of operation can be 1 year, 1 month or 1 day. So we have, this is also called as power balance equation. So second constraint we have is water availability. So water availability, here in this equation, X dash of T is water storage minus X dash of 0, that is water in the beginning of the time. Then J represents water inflow, that is after accounting for the irrigation over a period of time 0 to T. Then Q of T represents the water discharge rate over a period of time. So this is equal to 0. X dash of T minus X dash of 0 minus 0 to T, J of T dt, that is water inflow over a certain period of time plus water discharge of rate during a period of time 0 T should be equal to 0. This is the water availability constraints. Then third constraint we have, we know that hydro generation is a function of hydro discharge and water storage. See, power generation using water, it is a function of discharge, water discharge as well as water storage or head in the reservoir. So we can write mathematically PGH of T. Again, understand here PGH means hydro power generation, which is a function of time equal to, which is function of X dash of T, that is water storage in the reservoir, and the discharge Q is water discharge. So we have represented all the constraints. Now this problem can be easily handled by discretization. So we divide the total interval into small intervals, sub-intervals, that is capital M, where each of small interval will be of length delta t. Over each sub-interval, it is assumed that all the variables remain fixed in this value. The problem can be now posed as, see the problem we have already defined. This is the problem statement. So this we will represent in terms of discretization. So our aim is to reduce the cost of the generation. So this is over a period of time t. So now when you discretize into m sub-intervals, that is m is equal to 1 to m. So delta t now becomes dt in the earlier equation becomes delta t. So subinterval delta t. So this has to be minimized. So this is nothing but equal to minimum. This function has to be minimized over a time m equal to 1m. So we have divided the total interval into m sub-intervals. So it is here we have to minimize the cost of thermal power plant under the following constraints. That is these constraints. What we have discussed these constraints. Now we have to represent in terms of optimization interval. Okay. So like we have represented here the problem statement. So here similarly we have the first constraint, that is generation is equal to demand plus loss, or generation minus loss minus demand equal to 0. So here this equation earlier we have represented, this is the first constraint. Okay. So this we have represented in terms of discretization, where PGTM is the thermal generation in the mth interval. PGHM is equal to hydro generation in the mth interval. PLM equal to transmission loss in the mth interval. See, this loss is expressed in terms of the loss coefficients. See, in the earlier semester, in 7th semester, you have derived expression for transmission loss in terms of generation and transmission loss coefficients. Same way we have represented here. So TT represents with respect to thermal generation. Similarly, HH represents with respect to hydel power generation. Here BTH, both thermal and hydel. See, if you recall, we had written this as equal to transmission loss equal to PG1 square into B11 plus B22 into PG2 square plus 2B12 into PG12. Same way here, G and H are replaced with 1 and 2 respectively. Okay, so this transmission loss formula you have already derived in the 7th semester. Directly you can write, where PDM is equal to load demand in the mth interval. Similarly, we will represent the water continuity equation. So we had represent this equation. Okay, constraint we will represent in terms of optimization, discretization in interval. Okay, so that is water continuity equation we have represented here. So where x dash on m equal to water storage at the end of the mth interval, Jm is equal to water inflow at the mth interval, Qm equal to water discharge at the mth interval. Just we have discretized, we have represented the earlier constant equation in terms of discretization. Now this equation can be written as xm minus xm minus 1 minus Jm plus Qm equal to 0, where m is equal to 1 to m. The total interval has been divided into m sub interval. Now, if you express this, the earlier equation in discharge units, that means the entire equation, earlier equation, if you divide by time, so you will get the storage in discharge units. That means so much discharge per unit time. So the earlier equation, when you divide by delta T, you will get this equation. So where in equations 3.7, x naught and xm are the specified storage at the beginning and end of the optimization interval. Similarly, we have the third constraint, where we had represented the generation, hydel power generation is a function of water discharge as well as water storage. So this also has to be represented in terms of discretization. So we have represented here PGHM equal to H dot into 1 plus 0.5 E xm plus xm minus 1 Qm minus rho. See, this equation PGH, hydel power generation, which is a function of discharge as well as storage, is represented in terms of these coefficients or constants, where H naught equal to 9.81 into 10 to the power minus 3 H naught dash. What is H naught dash? It is the basic water head corresponding to dead storage. See, what do you understand by dead storage? See, in your hydel power plant, see in the reservoir we have water availability. Okay, so from the reservoir through the penstock, water is made to flow to the water turbine. So what happens? The turbine rotates and turbine is coupled to the generator and generator produces electricity. Now, what is water head corresponding to dead storage? See, in the reservoir, so water level below the penstock cannot be used for generation. See, when the water level in the reservoir comes below the penstock level, that cannot be used for power generation, is it not? So that is a lowest level. So this cannot be on that condition we cannot operate. So H0 is the basic water head corresponding to dead storage. Small e in this equation represents water head correction factor to account for head variation with storage. Rho is non-effective discharge or water discharge which is needed to run hydro generation at no load. So these are here hydel power generation we have expressed in terms of these constants. Now the problem is solved using nonlinear programming technique in conjunction with the first order gradient method. See, even in case of thermal power generation scheduling, you have solved using Lagrangian method. Same concept you will use here also. So Lagrangian capital L is formulated by augmenting the cost function. So you have written equation 3.5. So this equation has to be augmented. Okay, so by using Lagrangian function. So that we will also use Lagrangian multipliers. They are also called as dual variables. So the augmented cost function is expressed in terms of these Lagrangian multipliers lambda 1m, lambda 2m, lambda 3m. See here why we have three dual variables or three Lagrangian multipliers, because we have three constraints. We have defined three constraints equation. So depending upon the number of constraints, you will have respective Lagrangian multipliers. Okay. So similarly, you had earlier written in case of thermal generation scheduling. To solve the problem, we had used the similar concept. So Lagrangian function capital L equal to, our aim is to first write the cost function which is to be minimized. So cost function which is to be minimized is C represents cost function PGT during the mth interval. Here you have to understand our aim is to reduce the cost of the thermal generation under the constraints of water availability. That's why it is PGMT. Cost function already you have defined. Minus this is with respect to the first constraint. We had first constraint generation minus load demand minus load demand minus loss was equal to 0, or generation is equal to demand plus loss. So this was the first constraint multiplied by the first Lagrangian multiplier we had introduced, that is lambda 1m. So m represents during the mth interval. So we have the next constraint with respect to water availability. So this was the constraint we had expressed with respect to water availability with using discretization. So multiply by the second Lagrangian multiplier lambda 2, again m represents during the mth interval. So plus we had third constraint that is generation, hydel power generation is a function of water discharge as well as storage, that is x represents water storage in the reservoir. So this we had already represented in the mth interval. So now multiply this by the third Lagrangian multiplier lambda 3, again m represents during the mth interval. So is it clear? This how we have written the Lagrangian function. So which is augmented, how we augment by first write the cost function which is to be minimized, then minus the first Lagrangian multiplier with respect to the first constraint equation plus the second constraint equation multiplied by the second Lagrangian multiplier plus the third Lagrangian multiplier lambda 3. Like this, if you had so many constraints, you could have done. So now we have only three constraints. Now these dual variables, Lagrangian multipliers, are obtained by equating to 0 the partial derivative of this function with respect to the dependent variables which will yield the following equation. So similar concept you had used earlier even in case of thermal generation scheduling. So after writing a Lagrangian function, so we had taken the partial differentiation of the Lagrangian function with respect to dependent variable. So here which are the dependent variable? Your thermal generation and again your idle power generation. So these are depending upon the load, whereas load demand is independent variable. So generation is depending upon the load demand. So we have to differentiate this Lagrangian equation function with respect to dependent variable, thermal generation, then idle power generation, it has to be dou PGHM, and again storage and as well as the discharge. So these are all the dependent variables. So you have to take the partial differentiation of this Lagrangian function with respect to these four dependent variables, and you have to equate to 0. Then you will get these equations 3.12, 3.13, then this equation. Now after you obtain this partial difference equation, you have to equate to 0. Then you have to obtain finally the Lagrangian multipliers lambda 1m, lambda 2m and lambda 3m. So lambda 1m can be obtained from equation 3.12, since here we have the constant lambda 1m, that is with respect to the first constraint. So lambda 1 can be obtained from equation 3.12. Similarly, lambda 3m can be obtained from equation 3.13. So here we have lambda 3. So after knowing the value of lambda 1 m, you can substitute here. So you will get the value of lambda 3. So anyway, this partial differentiation, after you make it to 0, you can substitute and you will get the value of lambda 3m. Then to obtain lambda 2m, you have to refer to equation 3.15, which uses lambda 1 and lambda 3. So that's why after obtaining lambda 1, lambda 3, you have to solve for lambda 2m from equation 3.15. So once you obtain all these dual variables, so finally we have to see that optimum generation scheduling. For that, gradient vector should be made equal to 0. The gradient vector is given by the partial derivatives of the Lagrangian with respect to the independent variables. So now this equation we have dou L by dou Qm, where m is not equal to n, which is equal to lambda 2m minus lambda 3m h naught 1 plus 0.5 e 2xm minus 1 plus jm minus 2qm plus 2. So after obtaining the gradient vector, so that has to be made equal to 0 for obtaining optimal generation schedule. Okay, so this is about optimal thermal scheduling of hydrothermal power plants. So you have to learn here the problem formulation and the solution technique. Okay.